Across the state of Oklahoma, we welcome you to Oklahoma Sportscene. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln, along with the Hall of Famer, Gil Cloud here. And boy, Coach, what a show we have today. In fact, we delayed our usual Monday tapings in Tulsa to a Tuesday morning just to watch that national championship game, the big cat fight, the LSU Tigers and the Clemson Tigers.
Boy, what a game. And, it was everything that was built up to be for the first half.
Yeah.
And then the second half, there was no question who the best football team was in the country, and it was LSU.
We'll be talking more about that. We'll also talk about the final college football poll is out, and the Sooners, for the first time since 2014, have not finished in the top 5. And one of the big stories in college football for this area, certainly, all those little Canadian flag tweets must have worked, huh?
It seemed to work out. It didn't mean that OSU was adding hockey into Chubba Hubbard was coming back.
That's fantastic. The number one rusher in college football this past season, Gil Cloud, will return to Oklahoma State University. Cowboy fans are excited about that. Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World, their award-winning columnist, is going to be here to talk about that and so many more things in sports. We'll also have Wayne McCombs. We look ahead to one of the really big events in the wintertime here. It's the Field of Dreams dinner at Claremore Baseball Dinner. A lot to talk about there.
Great dinner, and Rick Mundy will be the featured speaker. Yeah. And, of course, Rick Mundy, famous for taking the American flag away from two hooligans that were trying to burn it out there. But what a great ball player he was, and what a good evening he'll make for everybody who goes.
You got a special guest coming to talk about the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Famer herself.
Cathey Barkley, who is the president of the Legends Foundation, and a Hall of Famer from Edison, was a diver back in the day when the girls swam and dove against the boys, and went on to University of Illinois on a scholarship. But she's going to talk about our TPS Hall of Fame, our 8th annual, 13 inductees going in this year, and really a diverse group.
Auto racing legend Tony Stewart will be on the show with us as we had a chance to interview him at the Chili Bowl press conference. The Chili Bowl underway all this week here in Tulsa, one of the great events in auto racing. And my man Gil Cloud right here is going to be a little nostalgic about the Union Tunnel Stadium coming down.
As I said, one of the interviews I did over the last Thursday was I would never have thought that 43 years later I would be there when it was being demoed because Dr. Jarman and I were there every day when it was put together in the fall of 1976. But it served its purpose. It's a great facility for many years, and Dr. Hartzler and his crew will be putting a new stadium in there, and I can't wait to see the first game in 2021.
That'll be something else. All that's coming up here. First, we'll look back to the Monday night, the National Football Championship game, the college football playoffs. LSU 42, Clemson 25, and it really didn't seem that close.
You know, it did for a while, and it was a pretty good football game. Like I say, I think in the first half.
Yeah.
But you could see, the physicality of LSU is unbelievable. I mean, their toughness, their ability to take the battle to Clemson, and that's one thing that I wondered about was over the course of the year in the ACC, the competition that Clemson played as opposed to the SEC, where, and I hate to say that, but the LSU every week, and when they went into Alabama and jumped up 31-13. You got to wonder, well, how good is this football team? Now, it was a close game at the end, but I'm going to tell you, they had some great wins. They had a couple of close ones, but and you're going to have ebbs and flows every week. But overall, Chris, I just they were unbelievable in their trek to be 15-0.
And the OU fans got to feel good about the fact that if you're going to take a beat down like they took, and you lost the semifinals, at least you lose to the national champion. Yeah. And also looking at that. I tell you, it was not easy for OU to take that, but at the same time, boy, I tell you, it just shows the difference, and there's still quite a gap between that football and what they play in the Big 12.
They've got a ways to go, I think, and I think they all realize that. I think the 1-5 in the bowl game does not help the Big 12 at all. Yeah. But now we'll see
0-4 in the college football playoffs for Oklahoma.
But now we'll see if we can fix it. Yeah. We're going to have continuity, I think, at Oklahoma. It doesn't appear they're going to lose any coaches, so they'll be able to carry into next year with a new quarterback and with some returning starters. Oklahoma State has a returning quarterback. Yeah. They'll have a new coordinator, but he's been on the staff for a long time, Coach Dunn. And so Baylor is a question mark. New
True.
coach,
Yeah.
maybe new staff. Who knows? And Texas
They back?
is not back, and they did win. They have won one in a row now.
Yeah,
they won the bowl game, but in order for the Big 12, I think, to get back to the stature that it needs to be, Texas, Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Iowa State is close.
Yeah.
Texas Tech had weeks that they played really well. West Virginia was down a little bit, but I'm going to tell you, they're going to have to get a lot tougher to get that recognition across the country.
I think Kansas State's going to be getting
Kansas
better too,
State,
right?
Chris Kleiman will do a good job at Kansas State.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Well, they released the final Associated Press College Football Top 25 poll. Obviously, LSU, the unanimous number 1 and well-deserving, Coach. During the season, the LSU Tigers beat the teams ranked number 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8 by an average of 20 points.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
I tell you, the quarterback, Joe Burrow, obviously a Heisman Trophy, played like a Heisman Trophy winner, which is uncharacteristic of the Heisman Trophy winner
right.
in the championship game.
Yeah.
I think he became the first one since we've had the championship series to win the Heisman and win the national championship.
OU for the first time finished out of the top 5, first time since 2014. Sooners finished ranked number 7. From the Big 12, Baylor was 13, and Texas were back barely in the top 25. They were 25th. Another big football story that was just announced earlier this week, and boy, I tell you, Cowboy fans, so Chubba Hubbard has announced that he will be returning, the nation's leading rusher. He's coming back to Oklahoma State for his junior season.
Over 2,000 yards rushing, and I think obviously he is a difference maker.
Yeah.
I think Sanders, the quarterback, is a difference maker for them. Wallace, the receiver, is a difference maker. They've got some people in skill positions, and I think their defense returns all but 2.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma State, what would be great for the Big 12 would be great for Oklahoma is to have Bedlam be the championship game in the Big 12.
Ooh. Chubba Hubbard, of course, had an incredible season, 2,094 yards, 328 carries, 21 touchdowns, is rated the number 5 NFL prospect, but he is turning down the NFL draft, come back to play another season at Stillwater. Well, the NFL football season has come down to the conference championship games, Coach. We've got on the 19th of January, Tennessee Titans at Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, the Green Bay Packers in San Francisco to take on the 49ers, see who will play in Super Bowl 54 on February 2nd in Miami.
I'm thinking San Francisco and Green Bay.
Ooh, how about that Kansas City comeback? Was that crazy?
I tell you, but Mahomes is never out of it.
Yeah.
He's such a great athlete. Can do so many things with the football that I think that he's never. And with Andy Reid calling the plays, what a dynamic, creative offensive coordinator he is as the head coach. So, and of course, the Aaron Rodgers, you can't ever count Aaron Rodgers out because he just seems to make things happen.
And a quick nod to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Boy, they are playing some great basketball. Been on a run. They won like 8 of the last 10 or 11 or something like that, Coach, and winning on the road. And we talked about Coach Billy Donovan's enjoying coaching this team without megastars.
I think finally he has a team that's listening to his coaching, and we're seeing the real, true Billy Donovan basketball coaching style, where before I think we had millionaires that were playing like they were playing out in the street, and they did what they wanted to. So I feel good for him, and I feel good for the franchise.
We come back. Bill Haisten is going to join us, the columnist, award-winning columnist from the Tulsa World. Talk all this football, a lot more sports stories here. So stay with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Cheers. All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
What are you guys looking at?
Oh, just one of 360 TLX PMCs in existence.
Wait, what do you mean?
They're made by hand. Yeah, Mr. Mo says the elves make them at the North Pole.
Oh yeah? What else did Mr. Mo tell you?
Cue the voiceover.
From now until the end of the year, save big on all new and certified pre-owned Acuras.
Happy holidays from all of us here at Don Carlton Acura.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
It's back, January 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chillable Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your General Edition Pit Pass at the event and find seating all along the back straightway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
Welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Today we have Bill Haisten from the Tulsa World, and boy, do we have some football to talk about.
Start with the national championship game last night, and first of all, introducing Bill by letting you know he's also the Oklahoma Sports Writer of the Year. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you, Chris.
On a well-deserved, his second one, by the way. And for John Holcomb, he's our Sportscaster of the Year from KOTV News on 6. Congratulations, John.
And Chris Leakin.
Yeah, that's right. Got a notification. I've been inducted, will be inducted this spring into the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
You and Jimmy Johnson.
How about that, huh? And how about that? We're all Hall of Famers here. Gil, of course, is Hall of Fame, so how about that? More plaques, no cash.
More plaques.
I know it. All right, let's talk about that championship game last night. We taped Tuesday morning the show to make sure we got this title in. And the cat fight was all LSU.
It was fun to watch. It was extremely physical. Joe Burrow, as impressive as he was for 14 games before that, was even better last night, I thought. And because of his willingness to get involved in the run game. And he's a pretty crafty runner, too.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times was this guy stopped in the backfield or just about on the brink of getting sacked, and he'd squirt out of there for 3 or 4 yards? I mean, he kept them ahead of the chains all night, and he got hit hard, and he did not leave the game, and I was real impressed by his toughness. So
what impressed me was they had one run where he scrambled out to the right side of the offensive formation and literally outran the cornerback.
For the first down, you mean?
Yeah.
To the stick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
unbelievable.
I didn't think he'd get there.
I didn't either.
No, you're right. I forgot
amazing.
about that.
I think OU fans are a little happier, though. If you're going to get beat as bad as they did that semifinal game, at least you lost to now the reigning national champion.
You lost clearly to the best team in the country.
That's right. No.
A team that, I mean, Clemson defensively is just a juggernaut, and then LSU pretty comfortably rolled up 42 on those guys.
Right.
So.
Final AP poll released right after the game, of course. No surprise, LSU #1. But what's impressive, again, to show their dominance, they beat the number 2, 4, 6, 7, 8th ranked team in the nation by an average of 20 points.
Well, what trumps everything for me is that they went to Tuscaloosa and dominated the game. Now, they only won by 5 ultimately, but they rolled to a 3-touchdown lead on Alabama at Tuscaloosa, and that kind of set the table for the whole season.
I think the one thing, too, in the matchup with Clemson, for all practical purposes, ACC versus the SEC, I think there was no question about it. I think they played a tougher schedule against better football teams, and they were more prepared when they came in the championship game.
Plus, I mean, just weapons all over the field.
Oh, absolutely.
Great receivers, and that tailback is a stud. And I mean, boy, there were great players on both sides last night.
What are your thoughts on that final college football poll that came out? LSU obviously #1, unanimous choice, well deserved. Oklahoma dropped all the way to 7. Then you have Baylor 13, Texas 25, running on the top 25 here. Thoughts on that on the Big 12 1-5?
Well, you're spoiled rotten when you make a reference to dropping all the way to 7.
That's true.
I mean, that's on the whole, the OU season was kind of a mixed bag, but I mean, it's so undeniable that they got so much better defensively that's a positive. It's a great positive. It's a great positive, too, that it appears they're going to go into this next year with their staff intact.
Yeah.
A lot of these superpower staffs get rated, and OU's has in the past, too. But I mean, to go into a second full calendar year with Grinch, that's a huge plus. You go into the Spencer Rattler era at the quarterback position. I think he's going to flourish. I think he's going to be great. And then you combine that with the presumed expected continued improvement on defense. OU will be fine.
Oklahoma State fans.
OU is clearly the Big 12 favorite again.
And Oklahoma State fans got a lot to be excited about. The big news about Chubba Hubbard, right? All those Canadian flag tweets worked, huh?
I don't know that the flags worked, but getting him back,
wow,
Chris, for a team that lost Bedlam and then lost in the bowl game, I don't know that any team with 2 losses, coming off of 2 losses, has more momentum than Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
With Tylan Wallace coming back, Spencer Sanders going into his 2nd season at the quarterback position and his 3rd season in the program. I mean, he's a grown man now. So, and then obviously Chubba Hubbard as a 2,000-yard running back, along with a defense that during the last 6 games gave up 380 yards a game and 23 points a game. And you can win a lot of games with a defense like that. So, I mean, they had a rough patch midseason. They gave up a bunch of points and a ton of yards to Baylor and Texas Tech. And from that point, they turned it defensively. And they got all of them back.
Yeah. Right.
All those guys, starters and backups, most of those guys are back.
Wouldn't it be great to have Bedlam be the Big 12 championship?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll happen eventually. And, you know, it kind of looks, it's tracking that way right now.
Right.
Because Baylor presumably is going to take a step back. You're starting over at quarterback. You're starting over at the head coaching position.
That surprised you, Matt Rule, to the NFL?
No, I mean, no. There was just always that kind of smoke indicating that he might, you know, that the league might view him as a viable guy. You know, he had a 1-year run with the Giants, like in 2012 or 14. 1 year. And then he went to Temple and really did well, and then went to Baylor and did historically well. Sure. So, no, I wasn't shocked. I mean, I thought certainly if he left Baylor, it would be for the league and not for another college job. Yeah. He just, you know, he's 44, and do you see the contract details? I mean, he's a hot coach, man.
And it's Baylor, you know, Baylor's one of those schools, too, that you're not going to be 12-2 every year. I mean, the recruiting is going to ebb and flow.
Sure.
It's a private institution. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think. And,
but it was, you know, the Big 12 needs all these schools that they can get to elevate and sustain as competitive and relevant, because Texas hasn't.
No.
I mean, Texas is supposed to be what OU has been.
Right.
Yeah.
Every year. Texas is supposed to be OU's mirror image south of here. And yet, just completed a decade during which Texas lost at least 4 games every year of the decade. That's
stunning.
Mind-blowing.
And not good for the Big 12.
So that's that amplifies the importance of Oklahoma State and Baylor and Iowa State and others, you know, elevating and sustaining as competitive.
Yeah, a recent column, and one of our subjects we talked about a lot on the show here is, again, Eddie Sutton, still not in the Naismith College Basketball Hall of Fame, the only coach with more than 800 wins, 3 Final Four appearances, still not able to crack that very secretive club here. And we had a nice call with Fran Fraschilla that talked about it.
Yeah, Fran Fraschilla, a week ago, Oklahoma State had a home loss to West Virginia, and it got a little out of hand late, so Fran had some time to kill. And he talked about Eddie. Yeah. And so, you know, Coach Sutton's not in this Hall of Fame, which is the pinnacle Hall of Fame for any basketball person. So, you know, I guess the Hall of Fame people have the chance this year to do the right thing, because they haven't yet. Eddie is a nominated figure this year. They haven't announced finalists yet. So when they announce finalists, maybe, perhaps, Coach Sutton, maybe common sense will finally prevail, and the Hall of Fame people will realize, you know, Coach Sutton's 83 years old, and it's time to put this man in the Hall of Fame. And so we'll find out in about 3 weeks who the finalists are, and then they announce the class of 2020 during the week of the Final Four.
You've got to have 18 of 25 votes.
18 of 24 votes, correct.
And the anonymity is...
It's the most secret society type of organization in sports.
Unbelievable.
No transparency whatsoever. You can't find out who the voters are, who the nominators are, none of it. So I just know that Coach Sutton is a nominated guy again. He's been a finalist 6 times. He's been told no 6 times. I just hope they do the right thing.
They did get a Hall of Fame, Oklahoma State, though, so Oklahoma State ties. Jimmy Johnson's going to the NFL Hall of Fame. And when they announced that on the Fox show, he was really emotional.
Well, it was a sensational idea to surprise Coach Cowher and Jimmy Johnson with live television notifications. Hey, you're in the Hall of Fame. That was the best TV of the weekend for me. Coach Johnson got a little more emotional than I would have expected. He's not really outwardly that kind of guy, but boy, man, when he got emotional, and then when they showed Troy Aikman and Troy was getting emotional, then my face got wet, and I thought it was a tremendous moment, and it just makes any Dallas Cowboy fan angry all over again that Jimmy and Jerry couldn't have coexisted and won a bunch more championships. And I mean, Jimmy should have been the coach there for 20 years.
Yeah. And one of the things that he did, and I think Troy Aikman mentioned that, the moves, the trades, he built the organization for 5 years.
Oh, no question.
And,
no, it wasn't just his coaching, and think about it too. I mean, just a few months removed from having no pro football experience, this guy mastered the art of trading and drafting, and just whipped everybody at their own game. Yeah. And of course, the Herschel Walker trade is historic. Right. I mean, basically the foundation for a couple of Super Bowls.
Right.
Bill, thanks for joining us. Our Sports Writer of the Year in Oklahoma for the second time. Well deserved here. We got something for you, Bill.
Bricktown is the Sports Writer of the Year. There you go.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Something you can eat, not just a plaque.
Well, I've got a lunch date with a couple of guys Friday.
There you go.
All right.
That's where we'll go.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
A lot more straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay with us.
The service is amazing.
Food's delicious.
I love the avocado fries.
I love the energy.
Local beer, great food, truly friendly service.
Look all right for you?
Bricktown Brewery, come and get it.
Okay, Winston, that should do it.
Hey, Sammy, what are you guys doing?
Winston and I were making gingerbread garages.
Gingerbread garages?
Yeah, so Winston could park his new Honda in it.
Sammy, he's a dog.
Oh, should I build them bigger?
From all of us here at Don Carlton Honda, we'd like to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and safe travels this holiday season.
Hey, Sammy, have you seen Winston?
Yeah, he took the Civic for a spin.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
It's a staple of the winter sports schedule in Northeast Oklahoma. It is, of course, the Claremore Field of Dreams baseball dinner, hosted by our friend here, Wayne McCombs, coming up on January the 27th at the Claremore Convention Center. Wayne, always good to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Chris.
Always look forward to this event.
Thank you.
Who's the special guest this year?
Well, our special guest this year is Rick Monday. He played 19 years in the major leagues, and of course, he is, I guess, famous for a couple of things. He hit the home run that put the Dodgers into the World Series in 1981. And then he, of course, saved the American flag back in 1976. There was an incident where a couple of...
Famous on YouTube now.
Yeah, a couple of yahoos took a flag out to center field in Los Angeles and was going to set it on fire. And Rick Monday said, I don't think so, and ran up and secured the flag before they set it on fire. And he has told me that you could still smell the lighter fluid when he took the flag away, so it was very, very close to happening. So, but he had a 19-year major league career, and he has won many awards for broadcasting. He's won an Emmy as a broadcaster for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he's very, very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I tell you, Wayne, this is such a great event what does it benefit?
Well, it benefits three things in Claremore. One, the baseball program at Rogers State University. They're Division II. They play excellent baseball there. Last year they won the conference tournament and went to the playoffs. And then also the Claremore High School baseball program. They've been very successful for many, many years. Last year came in, I think it was made it to the quarterfinals in Class 5A. And then also the summer program, and to help keep Legion Field top notch. We think that the Legion Field in Claremore is one of the best amateur baseball parks in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Bartlesville has a great one, Enid has a great one, but I think we're right in there with those teams.
This is the 15th Field of Dreams. I was just looking back at some of the incredible people you've had as the guest feature speakers, and they've always been highly entertaining.
Well, I check and look for guys that enjoy still speaking with the fans and have a story to tell about their athletic career. But this year, of course, it's Rick Mundy. Last year, we had Chris Chambliss that hit that dramatic home run, and then we kind of he was okay with this, but we told him he played against Tulsa University in the '69 World Series when he was with UCLA. The bases were loaded late in the game, and he popped up for the final out. And Gene Shell told me, he said, when he came up to bat, I just shut my eyes and turned my head. I did, great, big, powerful hitter.
Oh, yeah.
But then, of course, he hit that famous home run in 1976 that put the Yankees back in the World Series. And then we've had Phil Necro, a lot of great players. Ralph Terry, of course, is from Chelsea, and he could have been a stand-up comedian. I mean, we were in the floor half the time of those great stories he told us.
Now, you also have the silent auction, is that correct?
Yes, we do. Now, this is the best memorabilia auction in the state, I'll guarantee that.
That's for sure.
We work on this all year to get these quality items. We have a Mickey Mantle baseball this year, an autographed Stan Musial bat. We have some donations that you have given us.
Yeah, Bob Gibson baseball and a couple like that.
Joe Torre baseball.
Joe Torre,
and then also you gave me the basketball that had some of the great TU basketball
exactly.
coaches on it.
Sutton's all signed it too and stuff.
Yes, so we have some great items.
That's Becky cleaned out our attic.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you.
Well, that's really a great fundraiser, and I always look forward to we always get Big Al back.
Oh, yeah.
And Wayne Smartin, a lot of Yankee memorabilia. He's our top buyer, isn't he?
But Al comes and buys a lot of great Yankee material. You bet.
That's great.
But we have not only we have high-priced items, but we also have $10, $15 pictures of players and things like this that a kid can come and bid and win an item. Just have fun at the evening.
Sure,
all the autographs are free. All the ex-players that come donate their time to sign autographs free. Rick Mundy will sign autographs. So.
And Wayne, of course, does a great job with this, but he's also our baseball historian in Tulsa. Any question about baseball, you go to Wayne. I got to get your reaction.
Okay.
The stunning Houston Astros situation, the World Series champions, tainted by their own admission. They cheated. They stole signs during the season and the World Series. Baseball came out with, they said, is the harshest penalty ever, $5 million fine. The manager's fired, the general manager's fired, but is it enough? What do you think, Wayne?
Well, they also took away their first and second round draft pick. I think it's either this year or next year, or for 2 years. Well, that's not right. They've still got their trophy. Mm-hmm. The only people that are hurt really are the general manager and manager.
And
that
players who did it.
Players did it, did nothing. Back in 1919, when the Black Sox scandal came along, those players were banned for life. Okay, these men should be banned for life because it's the integrity of the game that is responsible for this. Now, what's going to happen? Probably MLB is going to have to go around at every ballpark on an occasion to check and see if you're stealing signs. Now, from the dugout, or if you got some wily old coach in the corner going, I think when he tips his hat, he's going to throw a fastball. That's okay because it's not electronic, it's not immediate signaling. But there needs to be more to keep the integrity of the game. And then also
the Red Sox now.
The Red Sox too. That's not right.
What about the Patriots in football?
Well,
that's a Boston thing, isn't it?
And really, there was little or no punishment for that.
That's right, and that's more than once with
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Something needs to be done, and maybe even taking away a trophy. Is that right?
Well, come celebrate baseball with us in the middle of winter here at the 15th annual. It's the Claremore Field of Dreams Baseball Banquet. Again, it's January the 27th. The Wayne McCombs here said you just got one table left.
One table left.
Who do they call? What do they need?
They
tickets?
can call Ryan Neely at Neely Insurance in Claremore. He's our chairman. And as of our last meeting yesterday, we have 8 seats left, so better call now.
Well, you'll serve dinner for us. We got dinner for you.
Absolutely.
Lunch at the Bricktown Brewery is always
Come to
Wayne.
Bricktown with us sometime.
Thanks for
Great place.
taking with us part of the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Coach.
Field of Dreams. Look forward to it at Claremore. Get out there and support that. We'll come back with information on the TPS Hall of Fame and the special new foundation. Cathey, Barkley, stay with us.
It's back, January 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chilliwack Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your General Edition pit pass at the event and find seating all along the back straightway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
I bring Tulsa's voice to Oklahoma City and Washington. I build relationships with elected officials and community stakeholders to develop policies that grow the Tulsa region. I loved my time at Rogers State University. The personal relationships I developed with professors really helped develop a skill set that would help me serve the Tulsa region that I care about. It all started for me at Rogers State University.
Who slam dunked it? Oh, the buzzer sounds, and this ball game is over. Tulsa's won the game. Here comes Tulsa. Horn spinning inside, layup, good. Oh, what a play! Joyner with a step inside, and he hits the driving layup. Euro move by Joyner.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. I have a special guest today to talk about a special event. Cathey Barkley is the president of the Legends Foundation, which is the sponsor of the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame, which will be in January on the 30th at the Doubletree Hotel. And Cathey, we're glad you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled to be back. Good to see you, Chris, as well, and excited about our annual Hall of Fame dinner that we have.
This will be the 8th annual. You know, when we started 8 years ago, I had told the deputy superintendent in June, I said, we're going to put together a Hall of Fame. We're going to have one this year. And he said, well, I don't know. It takes a long time. And I'll never forget walking down the hall of the Doubletree. It was Kevin Burrs who it was. And I said, Kevin, we're having the Hall of Fame. He said, I never doubted it. But it's been a great, great thing, I think, for TPS athletics and for Tulsa to recognize some of the really iconic former student athletes that came through Tulsa and coaches that coached in Tulsa. And it's really a great night. People who have missed this night and missed the testimonies really have missed a real prominent thing in Tulsa sports athletics.
There are a lot of great stories and just a lot of reminiscing, and so many of these players that were high school athletes want to go back and thank their parents, thank their families, thank their coaches and friends that got them where they are today because of Tulsa Public Schools athletics.
Yeah, it's amazing to me when you have a guy like Spencer Tillman or Tony Casillas or Jimbo Elrod, who literally broke down during his acceptance speech, thanking his mother for taking him to all those wrestling practices and all those football
Clay
practices.
Martin, a few years ago,
right.
he was in tears, just thanking his family for those
Rodney Kilgore.
Yeah.
He couldn't hardly get through, you know, because he was a West Sider and he was a Webster warrior, and all the people that come back. I just, it's that's one reason we're fortunate we have some corporate partners that buy a table so our student athletes and our student athlete advisory committee can come and hear those testimonies and take those back to their fellow student athletes at the schools.
And of course, Miss Cathey is a member of the Hall of Fame, right?
Absolutely, Edison diver.
That's right.
2017. That was really before. Really, women's athletics were much part of the Tulsa Public School system.
Well, at the point that I was a part of athletics in Tulsa Public Schools, I had to compete against the men because there wasn't a ladies or a female division. So they had women's athletics for non-contact sports beginning in January of 1974. And later on I believe in the 80s is when they had women's sports for basketball, soccer, and so forth and so on. So,
what does that mean for you, Cathey, to be inducted into the TPS Athletics Hall of Fame?
It's such a great honor, and again, it takes you back to those days. And I would have never garnered a college scholarship to University of Illinois had I not gone through the competition that I did. It made me a better athlete. Being, having to compete against the guys is one thing, but day in, day out, great coaching and great facilities that we had, and we continue to upkeep as best we can. But, high school was a great time in my life, and I really enjoyed my experience at Edison High School.
And Cathey quickly reminded us, as a good Illini, that they just announced, of course, the top 10 college football players of all time. Only one school had two, right?
That's correct. Red Grange and Dick Buckus from University of Illinois.
Fighting Illini at that time.
Well, Cathey, tell us a little bit about the Legends Foundation, how it started, and what the goal of this organization is.
Well, the Legends Foundation supports Tulsa Public Schools athletics by raising additional funds for our 19 secondary schools. We've got 10 middle schools, 9 high schools, as you know, and we are at a critical point here with the budget crisis that anything that we can do to supplement those funds to help you out, Gil, and the kids out, that's our goal. And we were established as a 501c3 last year in April, sanctioned by the Board of Education in June, and we are up and running and looking for corporations, individuals, whoever we can get to, help our kids out.
And one of the great things with this particular group is 100% of the funds will go to our kids.
Exactly.
There's no administrative fees, there's no cost of doing business. It all goes to our student athletes. And our first initiative that we have on the table for this next year, and we've already had a donor participate in that, is a mandatory study hall for our middle school student athletes, where we'll have tutors that will come into each of the 10 schools 2 nights a week to help our student athletes learn how to study and become a better student athlete. And we're excited about that.
Well, it's important for those middle school kids to get that then, because when they get into high school, they have standards that they have to have in order to compete on a weekly basis. And the John Starks Foundation was fabulous to step up and assist us.
Cathey, president of our foundation, and by the way, they came up with their mission statement, is to support and enhance the Tulsa Public School athletics program and its teams through public relations, fundraising, and special charitable events. So a corporation out there, a group that wants to take part, that wants to help, wants to support, what can they do? How do they get in touch with you, Cathey?
They can contact the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Office. Lisa Norman there will be happy to direct them. Gil and I will be happy to come out and talk to you about the foundation. And again, donations can be earmarked. We've got special needs across the board for facilities. We've got equipment needs. And eventually, I think we'd like to bring back some of the sports we've lost in the last few years because of the crisis in the budget. I mean, you've had to cut your budget back over $500,000 in the last 4 or 5 years.
And they were talking about eliminating athletics a couple years ago, too.
Well,
and
scary. Athletics is an integral part of the education system, and it brings camaraderie, it brings unity to our schools, and we want to keep that going.
I can say this, that over the past 2 years, Dr. Gist has really been a champion for us.
Yes.
And she's worked hard with us to be able to present a good program for our students. And I think, one of the great things about athletics is, and you mentioned the weekly eligibility, they have to be moving forward academically to be able to play. If they're moving forward academically, ultimately they'll graduate. Yeah. We retain students. One of the interesting things we did in the middle school was we put middle school athletics first hour at 2 schools. Those 2 schools led the district in attendance this past year because the kids were coming to school. We only have about 45 seconds. We need to talk about the Hall of Fame real quickly.
Well, we've got 13 great inductees. We've got 12 men and 1 woman, and it's a very diverse group. We have 2 Emmets, Emmett Hahn and Emmett McHenry. Emmett Hahn, of course, is a legend, and Emmett McHenry, Gil, you can...
Is an unknown legend. Actually,
unknown legend.
Emmett McHenry wrote the first code for .com in the world. And he's a Booker T graduate. And I'm so interested to hear his comments when he comes in.
8th Annual Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame. It'll be at the Doubletree Hotel, Warren Place, January the 30th. Starts at 5:30. And Coach, tickets still available?
Tickets are available. Call Lisa at 746-6453. Make your reservation today.
Cathey, thanks for joining us as always.
Great to be here.
President
Thank
of the foundation here.
We need to give Cathey.
Oh, that's right, Ms. Cathey. That's right. All right, please join us for Bricktown.
I will be there.
There we go.
Great place.
We'll
Thanks
be
for your
there.
support as always.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
job for us.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're building things up. We're going to come back. We'll have Gil Cloud start tearing things down. Untitled Stadium comes down. Big part of the history of that with Coach Cloud when we come back.
What are you guys looking at?
Oh, just one of 360 TLX PMCs in existence.
Wait, what do you mean?
They're made by hand. Yeah, Mr. Mo says the elves make them at the North Pole.
Oh yeah? What else did Mr. Mo tell you?
Cue the voiceover.
From now until the end of the year, save big on all new and certified pre-owned Acuras.
Happy holidays from all of us here at Don Carlton Acura.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Well, a big event in this part of the state a week or so ago, and a very emotional time for my friend here, Coach Gil Cloud, because he was part of the building of Union High School's famed Tuttle Stadium. Oh, so many state championships, so many great events of the years. And now it's being torn down, and at least their press box, the west side of the stadium. Coach, I know it was very emotional. You were there to see him start the demolition. Talk about some of the history. It goes back to what 1976?
1976.
Wow.
My first year, I was a 29-year-old, first year AD.
Gosh.
And Dr. Jarman and I went out every day and watched every single piece of that stadium go together. It opened for the first game on September the 24th of 1976. We played Claremore and lost. But I was still sweeping out on the east side with temporary lighting and we had just planted the sod 2 weeks before that game because the construction had been held up that summer. But it was a very unique funding source. It was a trust authority. And after us and 2 other school districts went into a trust authority, the legislature made that illegal. But as long as we had ours open, we could continue to use. So we bought some materials for the new gymnasium, which was built in '77 through the trust authority. It was state of the art in 1976. Seated over 10,000 people. We had 500 kids in the high school. And everybody said, how in the world, why are you doing that? And of course, the situation was the demographics in Tulsa we saw were coming southeast. It was going to grow. It was going to explode. And it did. And now it's, after 43 years, it's kind of obsolete. And of course, Dr. Hartzler and his team, Charlie Bushyhead and Emily Barkley, have decided to really renovate that. And as it was in '76, it will be in 2021. It will be the football stadium in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm glad that we're still at the top with that particular.
And it really was the impetus for so many other programs saying, hey, we need to catch up with Union and added new facilities, turf fields.
No question. I think it was one of those things where we really felt like you're either leading the parade or being run out of town, but you're always out there. And we wanted to have something that people could look forward to, and I think they did. I think it changed what people looked at in the state of Oklahoma for athletic facilities. Why not build a state-of-the-art for our kids and for our patrons to use? And so this one with really a $42 million price tag, $22 million for the stadium itself, and then the fine arts and the wrestling and weight training rooms and everything that can go with it will be outstanding. We will be major for Union, but I think you'll see all the other districts will fall in the line as well.
And of course, this criticism, people say, wait a minute. Schools are, by TPS, $20 million in debt, budget issues all over the state. How can you spend this kind of money on football stadiums? Obviously more than that with the fine arts and stuff, but some comments on that.
Well, bond money is totally separate from general fund money. Right. Bond money is money that is approved by the patrons of the district. And this vote, I think, was over 80% at Union for that, as ours was in Tulsa. We had 85% approval. Yeah. Those funds can be for brick and mortar and for supplies and equipment. But the operational funds, you don't want to operate out of bond money, and you can't operate out of bond money for operational day-to-day expenses.
Well, again, it was revolutionary when they opened up Tuttle Stadium. It's going to be even better when it opens back up in 2021. What about the 20 football season, Coach?
I've talked to Emily, and what they've indicated, that they're going to play 3 home games with only the east side grandstand. They feel like there are 3 opponents on their schedule that the crowd will not be what it normally would be for a Union Broken Arrow, Union Jinx or something. And then they'll be playing the other ones on the road, which means in 2021 they'll have 7 home games, which will be really, really nice for the patrons and the student athletes.
Gil Cloud was there when it went up, and he was there when it went down. We're going to come right back with one of the great sporting events in Oklahoma any time of the year. It's the Chili Bowl. When we come back and talk to one of the great drivers of all time, Tony Stewart. Right ahead.
Cheers.
All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
At Robertson Tire, we'll match any deal you find on tires, but customer service remains at the core of our business. That's why we've been voted the very best in all 3 major area publications. Thank you for choosing Robertson Tire for all your auto care needs.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it and you'll be proud of it.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Through this Saturday with a championship run on the 18th of January, it wraps up the 34th running of the famed Chili Bowl, the annual event that produces some $30 million plus the Oklahoma economy. Amazing drivers from all over the country, all over the world, here to run in the Chili Bowl. And one of the outstanding drivers, who's always seemed to be a big part of it, Tony Stewart, the legend himself. Members and the only guy who's ever won a championship, both IndyCar racing and NASCAR racing. Big part of the Chili Bowl. We're at the press conference earlier this week and asked Tony about the impact of the Chili Bowl.
It's like Brian said. I mean, you think of all the drivers, and not only from 40 states, but 6 different countries. I mean, you aren't going to go to another motorsports event where you're going to have that. Especially in our sport with open wheel racing and short track racing like this, it's the biggest race in the world. It's not just the biggest race in the United States, it's not the biggest race in Oklahoma. It's the biggest midget race in the world. So to get them all here and to have a facility like this that these guys get to race in, and you know, for us, I mean, I've been here for, God, I don't know.
A long time.
Well, he's been here since dirt was invented. I've been here not quite that long, but it's over the years. I mean, it's just it's so much more than just what happens in the building here. I mean, the race is a spectacle in itself, but then everything around it, everything that the city does to welcome all the racers, the things that everybody's able to do during the day on their off days when they're not racing, and stuff that they do after the races. It's just a huge event for everybody, and I think we all look forward to it every year. As soon as December gets here, I start looking forward to the Chili Bowl. As soon as December 1st gets here, by that time our NASCAR season's over, my sprint car season's over, and that's immediately where my focus goes to, is when we come here in January to run this event. I mean, this is the greatest week of the year, in my opinion.
Record 357 entries, Gil, 40 states, 6 countries, purse $250,000. The big final Saturday night, 10,000, and the Golden Driller Trophy. All these drivers really seek.
Well, it's amazing, and we've had Emmett on a couple of times, and he talks about the relevance of the Chili Bowl in the nation and in the world.
Yeah.
The people come here to Tulsa just for this inside dirt track over
amazing.
A week of outstanding racing. 1,300 cars they unloaded last week. I mean, it is amazing. If you've never been, you've got to go.
34th annual, tough to get a ticket, but it's worth trying, certainly. Again, the finals championship run will be on Saturday night, starting with the opening ceremonies around 6 o'clock out at the River Spirit Expo Square here in Tulsa. And again, it's a great event, and our friend Emmett Hahn will join us on our next Oklahoma Sportscene show to wrap things up, so join us for that. Look also ahead to this weekend, an event we've talked about before in the past, on January 18th, the 4th annual Pryor Comic-Con. Our friend Jimmy Trammell sets that up along with Robert Taylor's got a lot of sports memorabilia out there, and a lot of fun for people in Pryor.
I'm going to tell you, if you want to see a $35,000 baseball card, you can see it at the Comic-Con.
They have at the New Mays County Event Center, it's east of Pryor, and it's on the fairgrounds there. Admission just $5. Kids under 10 are free. All proceeds go to the Pryor Area Arts and Humanities Council. And again, they're going to have all kinds of celebrities, 80 vendors. You can buy, sell, trade, and look at some incredible memorabilia as well. That's the 4th annual Pryor Comic-Con, January the 18th. We're going to come back with our parting shots to wrap things up. A busy Oklahoma Sports Scene show. Stay with us here.
Okay, Winston, that should do it.
Hey, Sammy, what are you guys doing?
Winston and I were making gingerbread garages.
Gingerbread garages?
Yeah, so Winston could park his new Honda in it.
Sammy, he's a dog.
Oh, should I build him bigger?
From all of us here at Don Carlton Honda, we'd like to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and safe travels this holiday season.
Hey, Sammy, have you seen Winston?
Yeah, he took the Civic for a spin.
It's back, January 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your General Edition Pit Pass at the event and find seating all along the back straightway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Well, as we wrap up our Oklahoma Sports Scene show, we always end up with our parting shots, and Coach Gil Cloud tips us off here.
I've got to tell you that it was some of the best TV I've ever seen this weekend during the football telecast on Saturday and Sunday. Bill Cowher, Jimmy Johnson being told by the president of the National Football League Hall of Fame that they were going to be inducted this year. I think both coaches had done a fantastic job. But, you know, sometimes people forget about the coach when you're not coaching anymore. And to see the reaction of Coach Cowher and Coach Johnson was heartwarming to me, having been in this business for over 50 years now, to know that somebody out there recognizes what you do on a day-to-day basis. Jimmy said it best, I think, when he said, yes, you know, all the assistant coaches, all the players, all the people I've come in contact with, this is for them. And that's really how it is. Anytime you win an award like that, it's not singular. You have a number of people that help you do what you do every day. I feel fortunate to have such a great staff. I've always been involved with great people. I think to see Jimmy Johnson and Coach Cowher, I think that was the best thing that they could have done for the Hall of Fame.
Well, a moment of silence, please. The 2019 college football season, the historic 150th season that kicked off back on August the 24th with Miami playing Florida in Orlando, ended this past Monday night with the college football playoff and that wild cat fight in the New Orleans Superdome between the number 1 LSU Tigers and the number 3 Clemson Tigers. A new decade, 2020, the college football championship game underway, ended up with 40 bowl games being completed now, meaning 80 of college football's teams, of the 130 Division I teams, got some postseason play. I don't know how many of those bowl games you got to watch. I'm sure you probably were mesmerized by the first bowl game of the season. That would be the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl, December 20th. In case you forgot, Buffalo beat Charlotte 31-9. But I can tell you this, we have even more to look forward to in 2020. That's right, the NCAA, in their great wisdom, has added not 1, not 2, but 3 more college football bowl games. The Boston Bowl, we played at Fenway Park, will match a team from Tulsa's conference, the American Athletic Conference, against the Atlantic Coast Conference. Then the new Los Angeles Bowl at the new stadium, the home of the Rams and the Chargers. They'll be debuting that multi-billion-dollar stadium. They'll be playing a Pac-12 and a Mountain West team. And also debuting the 2020 bowl season, Myrtle Beach Bowl. South Carolina must be like something retirement bowl or something. We played at Coastal Carolina's Brooks Stadium. We'll match teams from Conference USA and from the MAC Conference. Now all we have to do with the 2020 season is wait until college football kicks off again August 21st. And I can't wait. Coach, what are we going to do all these months and stuff? Oh, it's hard to imagine.
Well, we have spring practice in 6 weeks.
It never really does end, does it?
No, it's never over. Recruiting starts now and never ends, and then you go into spring practice, off season, and then when we have summer where we play golf for a month.
That's right.
Then we're back at it.
Hey, get out and support the Chili Bowl if you can find a ticket anywhere. Of course, the big championship run is Saturday night. We'll have Emmett Hahn on the show next week to wrap up the historic 34th Chili Bowl, the big impact it has on this entire area. Also looking ahead, Coach, to your big event, TPS Athletics Hall of Fame, coming up on the 30th of this month.
The 8th Annual Athletics Hall of Fame at the Doubletree. You can call our office at 918-746-6453 for tickets. 13 outstanding individuals this year.
And we'll also preview the BOK Basketball High School Classic February the 1st. That's next on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Thanks for joining us.